How many balls fit into a Dodge Dart? Well, your guess could qualify you to win a brand new Dodge Dart from PressBox and Tate Automotive. We'll have the car on display throughout April and May. The 3 closest guesses at each of our qualifying events will be invited back for a final shot at winning the Dart. Find out where and when you can qualify at PressBoxOnline.com. And welcome back to Inside PressBox. Your final chance to guess in our contest is coming up fast. It's next week, May the 22nd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Tate Automotive, located at 7429 Ritchie Highway in Glen Burnie. Go to PressBoxOnline.com now for all the details. And we continue now with outgoing AD at UMBC, Dr. Charles Brown. We have him for a few more minutes. And Dr. Brown, you can enter our contest and win a new Dodge Dart from the folks at Tate.
Sounds great.
I said before the break I was going to ask you what your biggest disappointment was at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Well, I think, although I mentioned that we had more than 50 championships, I think in those sports that are most visible, we haven't been as consistent as I would like to be. Currently, our soccer, we have 3 main focus sports of emphasis, basketball, soccer, and lacrosse, and each one of them has reached NCAAs and done great things. Currently, the soccer team is on a great roll, close to national ranking. I think we have a shot at that this year, but we've had ups and downs with that program. Basketball went to the NCAAs. We won the Battle of Baltimore 4 straight times when Coach Sullivan was with us, but we were not consistent. We went up and we went down. Lacrosse, we've been to the NCAA 6 times. We came close this year, but we haven't been quite as consistent as we should be. And I think it's very difficult at our level to stay good consistently. And that's something we strive for.
Is it made harder by the fact, and this is an open opportunity to knock somebody else, but I'm not expecting that, but UMBC has pretty exacting guidelines academically. Does that make your job and your successor's job that much tougher?
I don't think so. I think it enhances our program. I think we look for certain types of student athletes, and they know what they're getting, and I think it makes it actually easier. I think the top sport program in the United States is Stanford, and you know, it's not, you know, maybe Louisville is doing great now and some other schools are doing great, but you take a look at the top Duke, North Carolina, those schools are great academic institutions, and it's not easy to get in there. It doesn't mean every student athlete that we get has the highest of grades, but we need to recruit someone who can pass the classes at UMBC.
I'm going to ask you one curveball question because it has nothing to do with UMBC, but it is under the umbrella of University of Maryland. You in favor of their move, the university's move to the Big Ten?
Well, you know, I just recently wrote a column on our website about college athletics. I called it the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like the spaghetti western. You know, I think one of the bad parts in general, I really would prefer not to talk about Maryland's situation, but the general concern, I think, is that money becomes the main object of these decisions that are made, and fans and alums are, you know, put out by it, and I think the student athletes have to travel long distances, much longer than they normally would have, maybe missing classes, costing more in a lot of ways.
It's a big difference for Maryland to go play Iowa in football with, you know, 150 people than taking a bus to Virginia.
Right, or you know, San Diego State to join the Big East in football, and you know, or a school in Texas to come into the Big East and bring the softball team up to the Northeast. You know, there's just some crazy things, and I don't think it's educationally sound. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a conference locally with Towson, UMBC, Loyola, Mount St. Mary's, George Washington, American University, George Mason, schools on our, what I would consider our level, maybe they think that they would rather be elsewhere, but many of us talk about that all the time. Wouldn't that be great? We wouldn't have to fly places. We wouldn't have to miss classes. Our fans could go to see our team, et cetera, et cetera.
We're fast approaching out of time. We appreciate your coming in. I've got somebody now to bring on once in a while to talk about college sports.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Thank you.
When we get back, we'll have a segment from the Maryland Jockey Club, our betting tip with Frank Carulli. He'll look at the effect trainers and jockeys have on who you bet. That's coming up next.
Horse players should identify the leading trainers and jockeys at Pimlico. The trainer is responsible for the care and feeding of each horse. He is the chief executive officer of his stable, managing funds, hiring daily and veterinarian caregivers, and making sure each horse gets proper nutrition, stimulating exercise, and clean and comfortable living quarters. The best do it better than the rest. Look for horses trained by any of the top 5 trainers to finish first, second, or third 70% of the time. Pimlico fans should know that Hugh McMahon is one of the hottest trainers in the country this year. Dale Capilano has won 18 Pimlico training titles, and Juan Vasquez went 6 for 12 during the second week of the Pimlico meet. A jockey is hired by a trainer to ride his horse for that one race. Jockeys are independent contractors. As expected, some jockeys are small, some are tall, some are men from Latin America, and some are ladies from Baltimore County. Apprentice riders are new to the sport, but in Maryland this year, 2 of the leading jockeys are apprentices. Yomar Ortiz and Trevor McCarthy led the recent Laurel Park standings. An apprentice gets a weight advantage because he or she is allowed a weight allowance to be subtracted from the weight his horse must carry.
And thank you, Frank. We'll have another tip from Frank next week. Too bad it won't be the winner of next week's Preakness Stakes. Next up, we skate on into the Caps Red Line and take a sneak peek at the saintly side of hockey. That's up next. Want a great t-shirt for the female sports fan in your life right now? Check out the Your Turn t-shirt, available now at yourturntshirt.com or at the Zone Superstore at 1744 East Joppa Road.